So, we just finished watching the full Diablo 4 campfire chat. Just going to give you the basic rundowns of everything that was discussed, the highlighted points, the stuff you really need to know, and weed out the filler, etc. First and foremost, they opened the chat, and the first thing they did was basically address like those survey leaks. Remember the video on the survey link, the one that comes from Beliar News? They addressed and said there are zero plans to sell pay-to-win in the game. They didn't mention the survey. They didn't deny the survey or anything like that, but they just said there's no plans for pay-to-win at all. There's no plans for pay-for-power at all.
Is Diablo 4 bringing pay-for-power to the game?
Yeah, no.
And they also mentioned stash tabs look like basically a full denial of all of that. So that is relieving to hear. And they also addressed that again at the very end. So they did a full circle of saying it in the beginning for the people that are showing up, and then at the end for the people who are showing up. There was also an update and sort of an upgrade, I would say, to the campfire chats, where this time they actually showed live gameplay. One of the things people were asking about was, can we get a dev in order to actually play the content that's coming? I know this was feedback that's got sent many times to them. Like, can we actually see some people playing the updates that are coming? So they did actually show the abattoir of Zur, and Rich, one of the community managers, played through a tier 1, which he beat, and then a tier 10, in which he died to, which was pretty funny. He didn't bring potions, and he had a pretty squishy build, etc. But it looked like it was going to be fairly difficult content. Tier 1 is supposed to be like 104 nightmare dungeon equivalent. Basically, it sort of looked like Graver Rifts sort of coming into the game. The next biggest portion of it would be itemization. They decided to talk about itemization, and a couple things came up during the itemization.
And generally in ARPGs, it's okay for it to be a low chance for the roll to be perfect, but there's such a high degree of variability in items right now as
Agreed.
they stand, where it's like, usually it's like, okay, well, this item is 80% of what I want it to be, and that could feel okay to find that pretty regularly, but that could be kind of hard to find right now in Diablo 4, right? And feels almost virtually impossible. You can go through 200 pairs of gloves and not find a perfect pair of gloves, for your class. But to make this, the sorts of changes that we're talking about, there's basically a number of other things that are going to need to be adjusted at the same time. So we have plans for a really, really big update for itemization that we want to be able to produce. It's not coming in Season 3. We're looking at Season 4, where we want to be able to target a lot of these changes to come out kind of en masse.
So we have to get through the rest of Season 2, which ends in January. We have Season 3, which will run another 3 months. Then we have Season 4. So we're talking basically right at the start of maybe the expansion, going into Vessel of Hatred. They're probably going to get the items done before that. So we're talking 4, 5, maybe 6 months or something like that until itemization actually gets addressed. We didn't get a whole bunch of new information on Season 3 in particular, but we did get the talks about itemization. One of the things they actually said, which I can confirm, is that they are working with the community, streamers, content creators, all of us people, in order to try to make itemization changes good and to get feedback pulled from the community. We're all NDA'd, so we can't talk about it, but we can confirm that they are basically, yes, they're correct. They're working with people outside of just themselves to try to get the itemization proper by Season 4 effectively.
We have talked to a group of Diablo partners, content creators already, about some of the itemization changes that are going to be coming in Season 4.
That's right.
So there are people aware of some of the details and changes that we're actually offering. So
yep.
And we're doing that mostly
confirm.
for, we wanted to get some feedback before we actually put it out in front of everyone.
I can't talk about any of it because we're all NDA'd, of course, but that is something that they mentioned during the live stream. So at least I can confirm that for you. Outside of that, they went to the Q&A portion. Few of the things in the Q&A was people asked, will there be a harder campaign at some point? Sounded like a firm maybe. Said it would be fun, something they're looking into, etc. So sort of a non-answer, but also seemed like a positive, potential type of answer. Loot filter is something that is like a to be determined. It's ineffective as of currently because they're doing the new itemization changes going into Season 4. So it sounds like they have to do the item changes before they add the loot filter to the game. That sort of makes sense. It sounds like it potentially could be coming, but again, we're talking once the itemization changes are done, so going into Season 4 at the moment.
Any news on a loot filter?
We're certainly not against adding a loot filter, and it's something that we're looking at alongside the changes that we're making. But the changes to itemization are so significant that if we added a loot filter today, it wouldn't work after we changed them.
They also talked about the fact that gold is a little bit tedious currently in the game to trade specifically on console because of how inflated gold is, and then you have to do it on the console. So they are working on addressing that fix as well. They mentioned adding more colored dyes, notably pink armor dyes, as there's none in the game. And they also mentioned the Necromancer having low movement speed and trying to help people with movement speed going into the game. Some like addressing the concerns types of answers, but nothing solid, no dates or facts or anything like that outside of just addressing the question. That's more or less all of the big talking points for the Diablo 4 Campfire chat. If you want to watch the rest of it, is on YouTube as well. However, those are the highlights and all you pretty much need to know about it. It will be the last dev Campfire chat until next year. It is the end of the year. We just have December now. So that's about it. Consider subscribing, liking if you want, or if I've earned it, or come by the live stream if you would like to, as there are other announcements to talk about today, as well as the Season of Discovery. So see you guys there.